My name is Moushumi Ghose. I am a licensed marriage and family therapist, and I am in private practice in Toluca Lake, California, which is in the Los Angeles area. My specialty in therapy is working to help people feel more comfortable in their sexuality. I guess you can call me a sex positive psychotherapist. And today I want to talk to you a little bit about self-care in the adult performance industry. I have the opportunity, and I feel lucky to be able to work with Pineapple Support here in LA, and I work with a lot of adult performers. And self-care is actually something that comes up a lot. First, I want to talk to you a little bit about what self-care is. I think there's a lot of talk today. It's sort of like this term du jour about how, oh, let's go to the spa, or let's get our nails done, or let's drink some wine. And while those are all fine examples of ways that we pamper ourselves, I feel like self-care actually goes a little bit deeper if we want to be really truly in touch with what taking care of ourselves really truly 100% means. So I'm gonna just dive right in. The adult industry is a particularly difficult industry because it is constantly being sort of victimized to all of these legalities. Here in Southern California, first there were these laws passed. Should people be wearing condoms on set? There's all different types of adult performance organizations, some with really, really great sort of feminist equality, treating their performers really well, and then there's, on the other flip side, there's ones where they just kind of discard their performers. They treat them really poorly. There's a lot of chauvinism on set. There's a lot of abuse and manipulation and this type of stuff in the industry. So it's a very difficult industry to maneuver just in and of itself, just because the entertainment industry is that way. It doesn't matter if it's adult entertainment or working in Hollywood. It's a tricky thing to maneuver. Production sets, times, everything is always up in the air. You might get called on set the night before, you might get canceled, things like that are constantly happening. So there's a lot of moving parts in the adult performance industry. So that is something that I feel like is very important. Number two, adult performers are creative types. So you've got to get your makeup done. You've got to look good. You've got to eat healthy, stay fit. You've got to be on social media. So you've got all of these things that are affecting you and that come into play that require you to always be on top of the game. So with all these moving parts, there are a lot of things to manage. Now, self-care to me is really about self-worth. It's about taking care of us, knowing what scenes we want to show up for, which directors we're willing to work with. It's setting boundaries around time, around people, around finances. It is much deeper than actually just going and getting your nails done, going and getting your elective procedures done. While all of those I think are very important and really contribute to who we are and what makes us feel good at the end of the day, they're not the end all be all. The real true self-care is the ability to say no and to recognize what is good for you, what it is you want, and what you need to do to get there to preserve your sanity in the industry. I did a panel recently for XBiz with Leah from Pineapple, and one thing I noticed is there's this common idea, well, if you can't handle it, you shouldn't be there. Well, it's not that easy. I know that you've chosen this profession, that this is your bread and butter, and this is something that you rely on. And so just being oh no, I can't work with this director, or this actor on set is treating me really poorly, so I'm just gonna peace out, is not always something that you can do. I get it. So how do you protect yourself when you're going on set? How do you protect yourself when you get cyber stalked on Twitter? I keep seeing this happening, and not just in the adult industry, but it's actually more rampant in the adult industry. There's people like cloning your identity, people stalking you, people that want you to do stuff for them for free or for cheaper than what you're actually worth. So self-care to me means having boundaries, knowing your worth. And knowing your worth is dealing with directors, dealing with other actors, dealing with the general public, dealing with your fans, dealing with your family, dealing with your friends. And how do you do that? So I'm going to sort of like outline what I think are the key ways to start building strength, inner self-love. I hate that word self-love because people are like, how do I develop self-love? Well, the first thing that you do is you start to recognize that you're the greatest. You're the best. You're the best at what you do. People are calling you on set because you're good at what you do. They want to see you. They want to pay you, and you're providing a service that is extremely valuable. So get really clear about that. The work that you do is important, and it's serving so many people, so do not shortchange yourself about that. Asking for what you're worth in terms of how much money that you believe that you, how much money, not that you believe, that you know that you need to survive, one, but also to be able to like show up on set and feel good, you know, show up to an event and feel like I'm worth it, you know. So how much you get paid is a way of measuring that. So you can ask for that. Now, I'm not saying that directors are always going to be like, oh yeah, we're going to give you the exact amount that you're asking for. I don't really honestly even know how that works. But the key is to know that you are worth it and that you deserve it. So those are kind of like examples of having self-worth around money, having self-worth around the financial aspect of your career, having self-worth around your time. So I don't, you know, like it's important that you know if you're getting called to do a job or if you have to go do something, like how much time are you going to commit to this job and how much time do you need to prepare for it in the morning? How much time do you need to sleep at night? Are there going to be drugs and alcohol involved? Because in the industry, there's a lot of drugs and alcohol. And maybe it helps you to have a drink here or there, or maybe you partake in some, you know, illicit drugs here and there. Try to be conscientious around it, because when you do too much of those things, it actually prevents you from getting the rest that you need. So drinking lots of water, getting lots of rest, showing up, and letting people know, like, I will be here at this time, from this time to this time. So being really careful with your time. It is your time, and your time is valuable. So again, it goes back to self-worth. The other thing that I think is really important is building community and having really, really good friendships. The more people that we have in our lives that support us, that understand us, that we can talk to, the easier it is to maneuver the harder times. So, you know, having a couple of friends that you can call on a regular basis, establishing that rapport with people and building that network and structure is priceless. Having that core network is so important. So, you know, there's a lot of people that you're going to be working with, you know, a lot of people you might be dating, people that you come into contact with because they're your fans. Try to start to cultivate some of those friendships. Maybe go see a therapist, go to Pineapple Support and get a therapist. There are hotlines, there are forums online. Just start reaching out. Put your sort of your taxi light on that says, hey, I'm ready and willing to meet new people and try to bring them into my life. A lot of times in this industry, it's hard to trust people because I know that there's a lot of you know, quick fame type of thing, you know, flash in the pans, and so people are sort of vying to be the next big thing. And so sometimes it can be hard to know who to trust in the industry. So you can develop friends in the industry, you can develop friends outside of the industry, but that can be one of our saving graces when it comes to dealing with trauma and dealing with self-care in the industry. Recognizing that you're not always going to get what you want. So something that I often encourage people to do before they leave the house in the morning, or right after they wake up, is saying a little mantra. I sort of like to encourage people to put themselves in a bubble. You know, it can be like a white bubble that only kindness comes in and out. So if you end up dealing with some asshole on set, or you end up dealing with an asshole fan, that just wants more free stuff from you, only kindness comes in and kindness comes out. So start to visualize in the morning. Do a little meditation in the morning to help you visualize that helps you visualize only kindness coming in and kindness coming out. The next thing is take days off. I know that money is an object and money is crucial in these times, but it's really important that you schedule days off. In the performance industry, sometimes there are no days off because there's no structured schedule. You're not working a typical 9 to 5 where you have Saturday and Sunday every weekend off. So it becomes very important for you to schedule your days off. Make sure that you have at least 2 days off a week where you get to do whatever you want. Maybe you just want to go read a book. Maybe you want to go on a trip. Maybe you just want to go to the grocery store and lay around on your couch and watch movies. Whatever it is, you get to do. And on those days, you don't pick up your phone, you don't answer emails, you let your agents know, you let your publicist people know, you let whoever know that I'm going to be unavailable these 2 days. And it can be the same day every week, or it can change. I know that things change. To wrap up, the best way to have self-care is to have self-worth, but basically to have agency, to feel like you have a voice, to feel like that you can exert or assert your voice when needed, to recognize your value, to be able to ask for how much you're worth, to be able to set boundaries around time, around finances, around the types of work that you do. All of these, to me, are what self-care is about. Self-care is about advocating for yourself and for your needs. And so there are a lot of ways that we can get really clear about speaking up for ourselves, about what we want, about what we need. I mentioned developing a strong community, your network, that can be a really powerful way. Something that works for me a lot is journaling. I think that journaling on a daily basis can be extremely enlightening. A lot of negative emotions come up throughout the day, and for me, and this is different for everybody has a different way of doing it. For some people, just talking it out can be really valuable. For me, writing every day, a couple of pages in my journal can be really powerful for me. If you're afraid of people reading your journal, or you don't have a safe space where you can write in your journal, typing it on a computer in a password protected document can be powerful. The other thing is taking time for yourself. Again, we talked about having boundaries where you only work for a specific amount of time, or you take a couple of days off a week. That's non-negotiable. And the other thing is spending time alone. It can be really, really, really healing. It can be really powerful. A lot of times we want to fill up our time with people, and maybe we're scared of being alone. Well, I think in this industry, because you're constantly with people, it is a really good thing for you to spend some time, in quiet. Spending time in nature can be really, really, really powerful. Walking on the grass in your bare feet. They say that grass has like negative ions in it. So when your feet touch the grass, it actually sort of helps like dilute some of the sort of negative emotions and negative ions that we've collected throughout the day. So those are some other ways. I also mentioned the bubble. So like doing a little meditation in the morning before you head off to work, or before you start a scene, or if you know you're going to be working with an actor that's a little bit stressful for you, or you're going to be on set, you know, doing scenes that are more stressful for you, saying a little meditation for yourself that honors you, that honors the work that you do, that honors your body, that honors your mind, that nurtures you, that permeates. The only thing that can permeate through it is kindness. You know, going into something like that with that sort of like mentality can make you feel a lot stronger and a lot centered in your core. So it's just a form of meditation. There's like guided meditations and things that you can do. Taking like a hot salt bath. Like here I am talking about like, oh, getting your nails done, getting massages, or are they really viable forms of self-care? Well, there is a lot of evidence that taking Epsom salt baths also helps with getting rid of some of the negative ions that can sort of get stored up in your body. So, you know, a couple of baths a week, walking in the grass, going to the ocean, breathing the ocean air. I don't know, I'm in California, so in Southern California, we have access to beaches. They're a little bit crowded sometimes, and they can take a little bit of work to get to, but the healing effects of spending some time by the ocean, again, it's like, you know, nature stuff can be really powerful to sort of get us reconnected to who we are, what our roots are. Social media. I really think this is an important one. I know that Twitter is a really, really great place for adult performers, people working in the adult industry to have a voice and to build fans and to get a following and then things of that nature. But it's also very important to take time off of Twitter and social media, as it can be really harmful. Over time, I feel like social media can be very traumatic. Particularly when you're dealing with angry fans, when you're dealing with stalkers. So just taking time off of social media can be really, really great. So just have dedicated time every day where you don't touch your phone, where you don't get on the computer, where those things are not even near you, and you are, whether you're reading a book, or you're chatting with a friend, or you're hanging out with your loved ones, your partner, just get off of social media and make it a point to do that, because that's a part of your job. For most people in the industry, that is a big part of your job, and so you need to take a break from it, just like you do need to take a day off from work. So the days that you're off of work, I recommend staying off of social media as much as you can. If you do get on it, maybe doing it for fun here and there, but try not to do it for work. So really, I think the gist of this talk about self-care is really advocating for yourself, asserting your needs, and, you know, being able to ask for what you're worth, what you need, what you deserve, time off, more money, and then, you know, being able to acknowledge that sometimes you're not going to be able to get it, but you're going to feel so much better if you actually cultivate that voice inside of you that is able to ask for what they want or what they need. And maybe you're not always asking for it outright, maybe you're not always verbalizing it, but you know in your heart what it is. And that is the most important thing. A lot of times we go through life and we're not exactly sure what's happening at every juncture, at every turn. And so what I'm really trying to impart to you is really getting to know you, yourself, your self-worth, really building your self-worth back up and learning how to advocate for yourself at every turn. And obviously that's true in any industry, but especially true in the adult performance industry. Anyway, feel free to email me if you have any questions, and I look forward to working with you, and I hope this helped you. Take care. Bye.